Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 1. I'm joined by Stephen Howson. Steve, more drop points for Manchester United. What did you make of the performance?
Performance wasn't bad, really, was it? I mean, there were some individual errors. Lenny Yoro didn't have a good game. Manuel Agati didn't have a good game. But I thought, considering that Villa just won their 10th game by beating us in a row, by the way, which, how alien does that sound to us?
Oh, can't imagine it.
Considering that that's what they've just achieved today, why can't we do that? Because we were better than them today. With all of the things going against us, no Mbumo, no Mazraoui, no Ahmad, no Casemiro, only half of Bruno, only half of Sesko, only half of Martinez, and, Delo captain, wild, Yoro being a body in a shirt, Ugarte looking like he was learning to play football on the job, Dorgu realising that, didn't know until at some point late in the game that crosses actually are meant to go to our players inside the box and not try and smash it off an opposition player. Like, considering all the things that went against us, we still managed to dominate possession and create loads and loads of chances. How do we do that? How do we actually look so good whilst being so bad?
How do you think we did that? What do you think we did well today then? Because like you said, there was plenty of things you could point out that weren't great, but you look at the numbers and you watch the game, the feel of it, and then the numbers afterwards back it up. United were the better team with more possession, more chances, more shots, everything. What do you think went well?
Don't know. Cooney's getting a bit of stick because he missed people calling it a sitter. He could have hit the target, should have hit the target. Let's call it that. He should have hit the target. It's not a sitter. It was a very close header that he should have done better with, but it's not on the line tapping it in, is it? It was harder to miss than it was to score. Not really. It was a good chance that you would hope he does better with, but I think overall his contribution to the game was class. Again, you're seeing him making tackles at left back in the last quarter of the game. You're seeing him literally carrying people on his back and driving us forward. His goal came on the back of him and Dorgu pressing in the opponent's final third, forcing mistakes, forcing things to happen. And I just think he's someone that understands what playing for Manchester United is about. And I thought he was really good. I thought Sesko was good for at least the first half, I would say. And that probably is a match fitness thing, I would think. So Mason Mount was tidy without being effective, if you know what I mean. Like, we did well. Like, we did really well. And, considering how good that midfield of Onana, Kamara, Tielemans is, like, and how plastered together ours is, we did a bloody good show, I think.
Just talking about some of those problems and stuff, obviously we spoke about the guys who've gone to AFCON so much over the last couple of months. We knew it was coming. Here it is. Obviously we're going to miss them, but there's less to talk about that hasn't been said. Bruno Fernandes, though, we've never had a conversation about how long he's going to be out for or the effect of him missing games through injury, because he simply doesn't miss games through injury. Firstly, how big of a worry is that, especially with Mainu being injured, or I know you've maybe got different thoughts on that. And secondly, what did you make of Martinez coming in his place when he came on as well?
I thought Martinez was fantastic in the six. Possibly because we were... I know it changed. It was very fluid, but the base formation that we were playing was like a 4-1-4-1. So it kind of worked to have him. And actually, it was more close to like a 4-5-1 probably, or even a 4-3-3. By the time he came on, it was very much a 4 behind him, rather than him playing as a 2 with a 3 behind him. It is a different thing altogether. And I don't think he would necessarily have been as suited to doing that. Also, today's game helped him, because Villa were happy to sit and play on the back foot and sit in a mid-block and live off moments. Like, they didn't really create sustained amount of pressure or chances against us, did they? Like, there was at no point where you're like, Jesus Christ, they're really sticking it on us here. It was like breakaway moments and our fuck-ups, which was giving them shots. So it wasn't the sort of game where you would see, even Casemiro getting dragged around today. Like, Casemiro would have strolled around today. But what Martinez did do really well was he brought composure to his passing. He won his duels when he needed to. He looked really good in the six. I still don't think it's a long-term option for him. And I think he's far better suited to being in the back line. And you'll see United being a little bit better with the ball in the back line once he gets into that back line. But he did have a really good game as a number 6 today. The other question was how do we deal with Bruno Fernandes? It's not something we ever have to deal with usually, is it? So I worried when he went off. I was texting various people throughout the game, and when he went off, I said, I worry for where we're going to score a goal from. And ultimately, we didn't score a goal in the second half. But what did we have? Like 7 defensive players on the pitch. Hence why we actually saw Jack Fletcher and Shea Lacey coming on. And what Shea Lacey do the first half a chance he gets on the ball is he shoots. That's what offensive-minded players give you, that a midfielder or a defender aren't going to give you. They can have good technical ability, they can recycle the ball, which is what I thought United did in that first half really, really well. I thought we held the ball, dominated the ball, but we didn't ask enough questions. There wasn't enough penetration on Villa. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though we were getting our shots off, there was not enough of like really carving them open, I don't think. In terms of how do we cope with Bruno, and do I actually believe Mainu? No, I don't believe the Mainu situation. And people are like, well, why would the club lie? Well, because we got our arse handed to us on the price of our youth players last season when we were trying to move them on, and the club is hurting for cash. So why would you take 10 million off his price a week before the window opens by telling everyone that he's fell out with the manager? Like, yes, it was quite public what happened. Don't make it worse. When people are like, Amrim's never lied to us before, cool. Go and have a look at what happened when Marcus Rashford went to Aston Villa on loan. He was ill when he got dropped from a squad after something happened. So don't tell me this doesn't happen, because it does happen, right? And maybe Amrin is a little bit more honest than many, but maybe he got pre-warned and was like, don't take 10 million off his fucking price tag today, whatever you do. So, whatever is whatever. And I could be wrong. He could actually have a calf injury. But I think the timing of it is mad suspicious.
I mean, just transparency, I assume that it probably is an injury, but I do get what you're saying. It's, of all the players to get injured, of all the times to get injured, this is a particularly suspicious one. But personally, I do believe him, but only time will tell, and I'm sure it'll all come out in the wash eventually what's gone on there. Just in terms of the manager then, because obviously you spoke about him and how he kind of orchestrated the Mainu situation there. What did you learn from him today, if anything? Because we did see a couple of different things. There was a continuation of this use of 4 at the back at times. We saw him use the academy players a bit more through sort of necessity as much as anything, because we're just down to the absolute bare bones. But do you think that the players are understanding what he wants from them tactically a bit more? Why do you think we've been able to put in these slightly better performances against a good team away from home? We were on 9 wins in a row. How do you think that came about?
Yeah, they probably are. They're getting used to it a little bit at times. I think there's still a little bit of confusion with the centre-halves pressing, because that's what you do when you're in a 3. One of the centre-halves is going to press a little bit more, and in a back 4, when you're a 2 centre-back situation, you don't. And there was a few times where I saw Luke Shaw stepping up, and I'm like, eh. And even if you go back to the first goal, it was 3v3. You can't have 3v3 in those situations. Like, you have to have a +1. You have to have an extra man at all times as the defensive principle. That was naive from everybody's point of view. Luke Shaw don't fucking talk. Aidan Evans too young. Yoro hasn't got his voice yet, and that's what that backline's missing. It's missing a Martinez. It's missing a Mazraoui. It's missing a Delict. And you look at this next month, you might have. I mean, we don't know how long Delict's out for, and we are fucking missing him right now. You don't know how long Bruno's going to be out for. A hamstring injury is not a 6-day thing. Like, he's definitely going to be missing against Newcastle. That's a fucking problem. Is he going to be back for Wolves? Jesus Christ, probably not, right? So there's 2.5 games that we missed straight off the bat. And then, January comes thick and fast with games. Like, before you know it, it's the Arsenal and City game. And we might have gone 5 or 6 games without him. And that might be just a complete deletion of all of our goals. Like, where are our goals going to come from if you don't have Bruno? Like, he is the guy that gets the goals generally. Yes, Cunha was good today, gets a goal, could have had a second. Yes, Sesko was good in the first half and faded a little bit. I'm hoping it's just a match fitness thing. They need to start stepping up, especially while you've got no Mbeumo here and no Ahmad here. Like, that's a lot of goals gone, and then we can't keep clean sheets. That's the biggest challenge that the manager's got to have at the moment, is because I made fucking 600 quid tonight on bets. I'm betting both teams to score. Like, I went for it about 4 different bets because it was so blatantly obvious that it was going to be both teams to score. I had Villa for over 1.5, both teams to score. Fucking have some of that. Like, might as well make some fucking money out of misery tonight, haven't we? So it was so obvious how it was going to go down tonight. And when you look at what it's going to be going forward, you go, if only we could start keeping clean sheets. Like, I believe in United to score a goal. I just don't believe in us to keep a clean sheet. And it ain't because Lemens is bad. And typically it's not because our defence is bad, although I think that today it probably was. Heaven and Yoro, individually, I think they've got a good future. Playing right back at the moment isn't working for Yoro. It is different to playing the wide centre half, and it might only be 5 or 7 yards to the right, but you're coming up against a different profile of player, and you're coming up with a different situation of the people behind you and in front of you that are helping you defend. Defending's a team sport. It's not an individual sport, but you have to win your individual battles, and he's not been doing that. And I think a lot of that is who's around him, who's talking to him, who's telling him, get tighter, push up. The distances was all over the place today from a defensive point of view. And again, I think that's down to just communication and leadership. That isn't there in the defence at the moment.
Obviously, everything has to be passed through the filter of Ruben Amorim's future at Manchester United. Do you think, just on the whole, you're seeing signs of improvement and signs of things you want to see from United in terms of the structure and the setup? Are you somewhat optimistic, or do you feel as though we're sort of stuck in the mud and it's not getting any better?
I think we're just in a carousel at the moment that you're deluding yourself if there's progress, like real, meaningful progress. It's ifs and buts. If Manny had bollocks situations, like United could be legitimate top 3 right now, being talked about the same way Villa are and in a title race. Like, we absolutely could have been, because there's results that have not gone our way that absolutely should have gone our way. We've created enough chances, we've just defended like fuckwits. But the reality is, we're not there. And we didn't win those games. And we dropped points from leading situations. Okay, we weren't in the lead at any point today. But we played well and didn't get a result. We've played badly and not got results. We've played well, been winning and drawn and lost games. That's the reality of the situation that we're in, and that's the results that you get measured on. Is it getting better? Yeah, but it's got really bad. Like, it's like we were on a mountain, we fell down it, and we've climbed up a little hill and gone, oh, we've climbed up a bit. Yeah, but we were up there. Yeah. And now we're down here. Like, finishing 6th or 7th for him, I think we all kind of agreed would have been enough to keep him in a job. But it saw every manager prior to him sacked finishing in that position, which shows how far the standards have slipped. Now, I think you made a great point a while ago about we need to see one manager's vision through to completion, because we've seen some managers' partial visions without ever seeing the complete thing before we've decided it isn't good enough. What harm is there at the moment with where we are and the situation we find ourselves in, even just from a pure financial point of view? We're halfway down the road with this guy. Let's not strip it all back and rebuild it again, because the expense of doing that will be outrageous. Let's actually just see this one through before we decide it is or it isn't good enough. Because he is showing he can compete with the top teams. Okay, Manchester City wiped the cock on the curtains after they finished with us. But we competed with Arsenal. We beat Liverpool, which I know a lot of people have done. We've beaten Chelsea. We did really well against Aston Villa despite losing. We are competitive. We just got to tighten up a couple of things, and I think we'll be there or thereabouts. But I can't sit here and be like, oh, we definitely need to keep him full-time no matter what. He is going to be measured on results. And right now, the results, they're not good enough. But there's a difference between me sitting there saying it ain't good enough and me sitting there going red in the face saying sack him. Hopefully people with a brain get that. And if you ain't got a brain, you're never going to fucking get it, I guess.
Right, thank you very much, Dee. Thank you, as always, for watching at home as well. Aston Villa 2, Manchester United 1. A slightly strange game in that we lost. There's some positives, but it's more points dropped for Ruben Amorim's men. We'll see in a bit.